Was back in Chicago today. This morning she paid a visit to a school that she once attended. Decay reports now on Mrs. Reagan's day.
Mrs. Reagan visited the Latin school in response to letters of invitation from the third grade class. She was greeted by children welcoming her back to Latin. It was a return visit. The First Lady attended Latin from the 5th through 12th grades and graduated in 1939. Mrs. Reagan joined Mrs. Pat Peterson and the third graders who invited her for a reading exercise. Then she stayed to sign the pupils' autograph books and to answer some of their questions. After that class, she joined the students and others for lunch in the school cafeteria. And even with a plate of lasagna, she couldn't resist the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Oh, peanut butter and jelly? Well, have to have that. I have to take peanut butter.
At lunch, she apparently explained how the school has changed, including the fact that it was for girls only when she attended. Later, in the auditorium, all the primary school children applauded the First Lady, and she joined them for one act of the play Tom Sawyer. One memory she shared with the children was that she, too, had appeared in a play at Latin school.
First Lady. And I played First Lady. Little did I dream. Somebody was trying to tell me something I didn't know.
Well, Mrs. Reagan is now at the Northwest
Graders at the Latin school today as Nancy Reagan arrived for a visit. The third graders sent Mrs. Reagan letters suggesting that she return to the school from which she graduated in 1939. After the welcoming ceremony, Mrs. Reagan visited the teacher, Pat Peterson, and the third grade class that first suggested her visit.
Hi. Hello. Very special. Glad to see you. Thank you for asking me. Thank you for your letters.
After lunch in the school cafeteria, Mrs. Reagan joined the students in the gymnasium where they watched a performance of the play Tom Sawyer. There is new research.
I'm Frank Mann.
Stories along with tonight's report, a look at victims of...
Channel 2
came to town to visit her alma mater. She did so at the request of current students there, third graders at the Latin school, as John Quinones reports.
The children of Latin school were excited. After all, it's not every day that the nation's First Lady comes to visit. They carried little American flags. The welcoming committee waved big letters that read, "Welcome back to Latin." It was a very special homecoming.
Mrs. Reagan, what brings you back?
My school.
After the welcoming ceremony, the First Lady went upstairs to visit a third grade reading class. She gave the students a chance to get a first-hand reading of what it's like to be the president's wife. She answered a number of questions, including one
class that had invited her, ate lunch with them, and then they put on a play for her, The Last of Tom Sawyer. The First Lady's reaction to all this?
I can't tell you how wonderful it's been for me to come back here.
What did you think about the First Lady's visit?
Well,
Reagan's
it
attention
was fun, and it's nice to have her here, but there was a bit of confusion.
Well, it makes me very happy. Oh, I thought it was great.
And we were supposed to hear the...
joined 400 other Latin students for a production of Tom Sawyer. There was rousing applause as the First Lady made her entrance with rose and teddy bear in hand. She joined the students for the 5th grade production on a front row seat on the floor.
Don't need it. He's got money. He's rich.
After Tom Sawyer, Huck Finn, and the rest of the cast took their final bow, there was some time left for a little reminiscing. Some fond thoughts about what it was like here in the Latin Gymnasium 43 years ago.
And it used to be, I don't know what's back those curtains, but there used to be a stage up there. You know, that's where we used to sit and watch the boys play basketball.
Mrs. Reagan told the students the only play she remembers is the 1939 senior class production called First Lady. The young woman then known as Nancy Davis, there in the middle, played the leading role. Who would have thought, she told the students today, I guess somebody was trying to tell me something. The students presented the First Lady with some gifts, including a Latin T-shirt for her husband. And soon it was time to go. For some of the students, it ended all too soon.
I thought it was really nice, and it was a great honor that she could come to our school.
I thought it was really fun for her to be with us and to take that time to be with us, and I wanted her to stay longer.
The First Lady left the Latin school amid choruses of "We all live in a yellow submarine." Her last words to the students, "I can't tell you how lovely it was to come back." John Quinones, Channel 2 News.
A deal tonight. We'll have that story.
Walking and climbing all over one another might ordinarily be something to avoid, but looky here, outside the Latin school, there is a lot of artistic talent going into a very special project. No, it is not a pep rally for the Chicago White Sox. These children are just chalking one up for all of the city, drawing images of the city on the sidewalks, historical and modern-day pictures of how they see things here. We'll tell you how we see things in the news.
Latin School welcomed its most famous alumna Friday. Nancy Reagan, class of '39, was warmly received by the school's 400 students. Robert Jordan covered the First Lady's activities.
Nancy Reagan arrived at the Latin School and was met by a group of students holding signs saying, "Welcome, Nancy." And at the same time, a cheer went up in the crowd. The First Lady entered the school and was greeted by about 400 students. During her time at Latin School, she told the pupils that it was wonderful to return to her alma mater, and she talked about her time at the school when she took part in sports, games, and plays, even a play entitled The First Lady. Mrs. Reagan's appearance at the school caused a great deal of excitement and preparation.
They're very excited about the First Lady coming. They've been preparing, they've made posters for her and signs, and they're very excited that she's coming.
Mrs. Reagan toured the cafeteria and shared lunch with the students, even going through the steam table and waiting her turn to get food. Later, during her 7-hour visit, Mrs. Reagan attended a special ceremony at Northwestern University Medical School, where she was presented with a medallion in honor of her father.